Hi, Joe Cerrone. Welcome to our Zoom meeting for Saturday, the 6th of February. Today, we'll be introducing Lab 3 from CAM Instructor. Lab 3 is where it really starts to put things together. Labs 1 and 2 were basically just drafted working with the MasterCAM software. And what I'll do is every week I'll go through and I'll post in the announcements what we're doing and what's due. I kind of pushed for the first 3 modules because there really isn't enough to do without getting into setting up the machines and setting up the tools, which happens in Lab 3. So once we get going with this Lab 3, we can slow down a little bit and start to tie the machines together, at least to tie MasterCAM to the machine tools, because that's really what it's about. So the assignments for this week are this one, this one, this one. And then I've got 4 of them on there. I'm going to leave it at that for right now. I don't think they're super difficult, but we'll see how that goes. If you need more time, you need more time. But these are pretty straightforward. They're 3-inch by 3-inch square aluminum blocks. We usually cut them out of plastic. They're 1/4 of an inch thick, and they're basically spot drill and drill programs. And so just 2 tools. We'll go through talking about how to set up the tools. We'll talk about how to set up the stock, etc. Last week, I recorded the meetings, and I like to put the time so you know how long it takes to watch a video. And so here's our Zoom meetings from last week, part 1, part 2, and part 3. If you weren't here last week, you can just click on the link. And you can play it. I usually play it without the video, without the audio. If you want some extra credit points, I'll do the bonus. So it's just me talking in the background there. And so that was last week. And then there's 2 more videos of what we did. We're pretty much following the CAM Instructor outline the way they have it set up. And so you should have access to the CAM Instructor website. And they're making us a great deal if you want to go and add these other courses. You should have a couple of these, 2 or 3. You should have MasterCAM 2020 Mil 2D. And I believe you also have the solids. And you should also have the CNC programming, set up and operate CNC axis mills. And it's important to be able to run the machine, the CNC machines. And so that's what this talks to you about. We haven't started working on this, but there's also some really great content here. And what's nice about the setup and operate is they made some really nice videos. So when you go into Mill 1, the setup and operate, here's the same part that we're going to be doing, and we're going to be cutting these next week. But again, everything kind of works together, and in a pandemic environment, we have a lot of resources for what we're paying for. So you guys have these professionally made videos and content that we'll be working with. MasterCAM 2020 Mil 2D. Here's what we're doing. We started off with Mill Lesson 1. Mill Lesson 1 was just to draw this part right here. And when you look at these mill lessons, you can open and print these out if you want. There it goes. And essentially the assignments are, I'm not a big fan of reading how to draw. I just look for the stuff that works for me, but this is not bad. This one just tells you how to set the environment in Lesson 1. And then in the exercises that we're going to do. Sorry, this Windows interface. So here's one of the lessons right here. Sorry. It's just drawing the part. And when we get down to using MasterCAM to do that, when we're here in MasterCAM, we'll say File, New. We'll take a new part. And then as you go through, you have to learn the interface. Most of the drawing functions are right here in the wireframe. I like to use the F9 key to turn on where 0 is at. So F9 will toggle that. And then if you go to the view screen, you can set up a snap and a grid if you decide you want to use those. You just hit this little corner arrow here, and you can enable these with the spacing. This one's set up at 1/4 of an inch. That should be fine. And then when you look at the drawing that was done, I'm going to print this. When you go through and you draw these on MasterCAM, the first thing that you want to do is to set up, I would set up the machine. You don't have to, but I would say machine. This is going to be on a mill. And just choose the default for right now. We'll go through getting post processors for our machines, and Francis is really very good with this. So I'm going to say default. What that does is it ties whatever we're doing right now to a default mill, and then it'll generate the G codes for that. And then if I look at my print, when we start to draw, what you want to do is you right mouse click and you set up the line weight and the line type. So I'm going to go with the continuous line. Typically I take the third one, and then you can choose the color. And so today I think I will draw with, I'll stay with blue. Turn the wheel on the mouse to change the interface. Start in the wireframe, line, right there. And then you don't have to use the way that they drew it. It just has to be drawn correctly. And so this first line is 5 inches long. So I'm just going to throw it out there. And then you can just change it to 5, enter. And blue check mark, as you remember, will allow you to stay in the drawing editor and continue drawing. And I've been drawing for a long time, so I'm just going to go through. I can go and make this 0.75. I can then go and click here, draw down. You got to do the math. It's 2.5 inches. Just look at the interface. And then as you go through and we start to make these drawings, they're not that difficult. I'm not going to complete that drawing. But what you would do is you would do a save as. And then you save it with your initials. Lab 1, Lab 1A, Lab 1B. If you get the name a little bit wrong, that's not a big deal. I just want you to know how to do this. Put it in a directory you can find it. So I'm just going to put everything into a USB on my MasterCAM folder. And I'll just save that. And then you're to go to D2L. In D2L, I have our course management. And I can see who's in the class, and I can see what's going on with that. And so under assignments, you're to go to Mill Lesson 1. And then you attach the assignments like these other guys have done. You just attach them and turn them in. If I go to a student view, I can do it. So when I go to assignments, Mill Lesson 1, it's worth 40 points, add a file, my computer, and then upload the file that you just created. And so here's my file. I have one, open, and then you can add a note. You know, I had difficulty. So you can do that. You can add information when you submit it, or you could say, ignore, you know, this file. I meant to do that. Submit it, and then once it's submitted, we just go in and grade it and give you feedback on it. It's really very straightforward in the beginning. Coming back here, due dates. Today, middle 1 is due. If you need more time, if you didn't get it done, no problem. We'll give you a mercy day on that. You can turn it in next week, but you do have to ask. Okay, if you don't ask and I don't hear from you, then you're going to lose 10% for being late. And those are easy points. So ask if you're late and ask for an extension. It's normal business. They always push. They always want it yesterday. And so they'll keep pushing until you tell them I can't meet my deadlines. It's sort of how most of your companies are. All right. So that was module or lab number 1. The videos are really very good. So if you go into this lesson 1, you watch the videos and then you'll get these green check marks. And so I can check on students by looking at the student overview, and I can see who's actually doing the work now. And so I can see Albert here, he's gone through, he's got a percentage of these things done. Here's some of the other things that you guys have. And so it's not bad. We can add all of these, and I believe they're good for a year. So from a standpoint of being able to learn things in a pandemic environment, I think this is the best thing that we can do with it. You don't have to do this exercise. It's bonus. If you do, it's an extra 10%. We're going to start showing you guys how to use machines next week. We're getting there. Lab 2, here's lab 2 is due next week. We just go through and draw them. No machining. Today, we're going to go through how to draw. And then here's some of the videos from the first class. Okay, that's our 10-minute recap. I'm going to stop this recording, open things up for questions, and then we're going to start the lesson for lab 3.